Alright, you guys did it. You guys came back. Welcome back to another video. I'm your host for this one, Landon Dalitzing, and welcome back to another Most Amazing Top 10 video. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys to hit the subscribe button and also smash the sponsor button as well right next to the subscribe button so you guys can become a part of the Most Amazing team here at Most Amazing Top 10. So every country has their fair share of scary urban legends, and they're designed to scare us, and Turkey is no exception. These urban legends have been around for centuries, and the residents of Turkey fear them all. So you know what? This is the top 10 scary Turkish urban legends. It's time that things get scary around here. Starting off this creepy list, number 10, we have the myth of Annalee Megara. This urban legend is centered on a king's daughter who is extremely beautiful, so she had to cover her face with a veil because no one was able to handle her beauty. As the years went on, her father believed that it was time to find a husband and get married, so he sent out the news to whoever was able to lift her veil and withstand her beauty and also see beyond her appearance would become her husband. A lot of young men who wanted to ascend the throne lined up in order to lift the princess's veil, but they were immediately overcome by her beauty. This continued on for several days until a young man was able to lift up her veil and withstand her beauty. They had such an electrifying force that caused fire to surround them. Eventually both of them burned to death because of the heat from their connection. Their bodies are said to be buried in a cave outside of town, and every time the sun shines on their tomb, the surface will burst into flames. I don't know what you guys think about this story, but to me, it sounds pretty depressing and tragic. I mean, it seems like they found their true love and then they got burnt to a crisp. This urban legend definitely won't be turned into a Disney movie anytime soon, and that's for sure. The Myth of Sarek comes onto this list at number 9. This urban legend focuses on the highest peak of Glory Mountains in Turkey. So, according to the story, a beautiful young girl named Sarek lived in a very small village where all of the young men fell in love with her and they wanted to ask her permission to get married to her. The girl's father was very stubborn and criticized all of the men. He didn't think that they were good enough for his daughters, so he turned them all away. Well, the men were furious and felt rejected, so he made up a lie that his daughter had committed a very sinful act. They demanded the father kill his daughter or he banishes her from the village. The father couldn't bring himself to murder her, so he sent her away to live on the peak of Glory Mountains, hoping that she would be able to survive. Well, rumors spread like wildfire that she managed to survive the harsh conditions, and she even helps wanderers who have lost their way on the mountain. But if you are a sinful person, she will keep you lost and you will never find your way home again. The legend of Kizgalesi climbed onto this list at number 8. This is one of Turkey's most popular urban legends, and it goes something like this. An emperor had a beautiful young girl, and an oracle predicted that she would be killed by a venomous snake on her 18th birthday. In order to try and protect her and keep her away from any snakes, he had a tower built in the middle of the sea to keep her safe until her 18th birthday. So the princess was placed in the tower where the only visitors was her father. On her 18th birthday, the emperor brought her a basket of exotic fruits, but when she placed her hand in the basket, she was bitten by a venomous snake that had been hiding at the bottom. She died instantly in her father's arms, exactly how the oracle predicted that she would die. The Shah Maran scares us in at number 7. According to this urban legend, Shah Maran is a strange creature whose head is of a beautiful woman, but the bottom of her body is a snake. She apparently lives in the land of snakes under the earth. In this story, a poor young man living in the woods stumbles across a deserted cave that has a honey well inside. Once he climbs down into the well, he notices that there is a secret passage that leads him to the land of snakes underground. I mean, I don't know if that's a place that I would want to find myself in, but anyways, there are thousands of snakes that are circling him, and in the middle of these snakes, he saw the Shah Maran, and then he just fell in love instantly. The young man spent months of his life living in the secret underground village. The Shah Maran taught him all about medicines and medicinal herbs, but the young man was missing his family and friends on Earth, so he decided to leave his love and to return back to Earth. The Shah Maran warned him that he must not talk about her to other humans, so the young man kept a secret secret for a long time until the king became ill, and the treatment of his disease was to eat the flesh of the Shah Maran. So the young man spilled his guts and gave away all of his secrets. I mean, talk about giving up on all your morals and ethics. The Shah Maran was slaughtered and the king ate her flesh in order to survive. And next up, number 6, we have Jesus Beach. I'm not kidding. So over on the southern coast of Turkey, a fisherman and the daughter of the king fell madly in love with each other. However, the love between a fisherman and a princess was forbidden and seen as an act of treason. They knew that they would never get her father's blessing, so they would meet secretly at nighttime. But the king quickly found out what was happening behind his back, so one night he asked his guards to follow his daughter. When the guards returned, they told him that his daughter was sneaking out to meet a poor fisherman in a small bay outside of town, and that she would signal the fisherman at the other end of the bay by flashing a light so he'd be able to go get her. After hearing this, the king ordered his soldiers to set up a trap to kill the fisherman. The guards followed the princess, captured her, and flashed the light in order to trick the fisherman. But the princess managed to escape from the guard and she ran as fast as she could in order to warn her lover. But as she approached the fisherman, the guards accidentally shot an arrow into her heart, killing her instantly. So now people in this village say that when the blood of the princess got mixed with the seawater, it changed the color of the sand. That's why today it looks like a shade of red. It's like bloody sand. It's her blood in the sand. The gate of hell burns in at number 5. Archaeologists in Turkey are claiming that they have discovered the gates of hell in the southwestern part of the country. The gates of hell have a legendary reputation for being entrances to the underworld. These gates of hell have steps going into a cave that leads to a doorway. This doorway is filled with foul and noxious gases, so any animal or human who attempts to open the door will instantly die. People in Turkey have tested this theory by throwing live sparrows down the steps. The locals discovered that these birds died immediately, so they knew that it was not safe to explore. And now the locals believe that these are the gates to hell, and anyone that sets foot in this vicinity will either be cursed or will die suddenly of an unknown cause. Okuu stabs his way into number 4. The Okuu is very similar to North America's boogeyman. Pretty scary. This is an urban legend created by parents in order to get their children to behave. This monster doesn't really have a specific appearance, and this legend differs from household to household. But the most common explanation of the Okuu goes something like this. If you are caught misbehaving or committing a sinful act, the Okuu will get you. He is known to carry a sack, and he uses it to capture and keep children. So if you are found misbehaving, you might be visited by the Okuu, and he will steal you away from your family, and you're gonna be forced to live in a small sack with no air inside, and there's no space. I mean, wow, this sounds more like parental abuse than an urban legend. If this is really going on, is this like a parent doing this, putting kids in a bag? If I heard this story when I was younger, I would definitely behave though, because I wouldn't want to be stuffed into a dirty old bag. Unless it's like a giant one, a big one, it comes with cable or something. So maybe, you know what, this urban legend's more effective than I thought. The Black Sea creeps onto this list at number 3. No one knows for certain what is lurking at the bottom of the Black Sea. And you know what, I don't know if I want to find out. For those of you who don't know, the Black Sea kind of got its name because it was considered to be inhospitable, because it was difficult to navigate, and because its shores were inhabited by savage tribes. Because of these rumors, the Black Sea is now the focus of several scary urban legends and myths. One urban legend claims that dead corpses can be found floating in the Black Sea. If you attempt to swim in the Black Sea, you will most likely float because of the high levels of minerals and salt, but just keep in mind that according to this legend, you're also sharing this body of water with the dead, who might want to pull you underwater. That's one place I'm not going to be swimming anytime soon. That's why I keep to the swimming pool and depth of only 3 feet. I want to make sure I see what's down there. The Ghoul Bani haunts its way into number 2. The Ghoul is a gigantic ghoul with a long beard who wanders at night scaring and abducting people. I mean, what is going on in Turkey? According to the story, a group of young friends travel to a house in the forest and they discover a well in the middle of nowhere. They decide to remove the piece of wood that is sealing the opening of the well, and that might have been the biggest mistake they have ever made. They go back to the cabin in the woods, but now they're not alone. The Ghoul Bani followed them from the forest, and now he is trying to murder them so that he can steal their souls. So I guess the lesson here is 1, don't wander into the woods alone, and 2, if you see a well and it's sealed, it's probably for a good reason. And I would say rule number 3, make sure you're faster than your friends. Karabasan, the sleep demon, haunts our dreams in at number 1, and I don't even want to talk about him. In Turkey, an unwanted paranormal creature who enters your dreams or nightmares is called Karabasan. This urban legend says that this demonic creature will enter its victims' rooms and will hold them still before strangling them. The victim will know exactly what their fate is going to be, but they're unable to move and they're unable to scream. It's almost like they're paralyzed and trapped in their own bodies. But if you want to try and beat this demon, you can try and steal the hat from its head, and if you manage to do this, the demon will transform into a genie who will then be your slave. I mean, that's kind of cool. You can transform a demon to a genie, but I wouldn't take the chance. Well, if you guys manage to do this, to transform the demon, and now you have some wishes, what would you guys wish for? Let me know in the comment section below. Well, there you guys have it. I wanted to end this video on a more like non-scary notes, but thanks for coming to the end of this video, guys. It was a whole lot of fun researching all this for you. I'll see you guys all in the next most amazing top 10 video.